How would you clarify the common misconception that only book-smart people can be scientists? One way is to remember that practical skills, critical thinking, and hands-on experience are equally important in scientific pursuits. How would you clarify the common misconception that scientists are only interested in facts, not creativity? One way is to remember that scientific creativity is crucial for hypothesis formulation, experimental design, and problem solving. How would you clarify the common misconception that scientists are never unsure or change their minds? One way is to remember that science evolves and scientists change their views based on new evidence and insights. How would you clarify the common misconception that you must have a eureka moment to make a discovery? One way is to remember that discoveries often result from gradual accumulation of evidence and insights, not just sudden revelations. How would you clarify the common misconception that you have to be an expert in everything to be a scientist? One way is to remember that experts often collaborate on interdisciplinary projects, combining their unique skills and knowledge. How would you clarify the common misconception that you need to know all the answers to be a scientist? One way is to remember that scientists embrace uncertainty, continually seeking answers through research and exploration. How would you clarify the common misconception that you must be a math whiz to be a scientist? One way is to remember that mathematics is a tool in science, but scientists use a range of skills, and not all fields require advanced math. How would you clarify the common misconception that scientists know everything about their field? One way is to remember that science is a continuous learning process, and scientists are always building upon existing knowledge. How would you clarify the common misconception that science is only for people with advanced degrees? One way is to remember that while advanced degrees are common, scientific exploration can be pursued at various educational levels. How would you clarify the common misconception that you must be correct all the time to be a scientist? One way is to remember that being wrong is a big part of the scientific process. It's about learning and refining understanding. How would you clarify the common misconception that scientists never make mistakes? One way is to remember that scientists learn from mistakes, and trial and error are integral to the scientific process. How would you clarify the common misconception that scientists only study things that are already known? One way is to remember that discovery and exploration of the unknown are fundamental aspects of scientific inquiry. How would you clarify the common misconception that you need to be a great writer to be a scientist? Scientists often collaborate in teams, sharing ideas and expertise to address complex problems. While communication is essential, scientists develop writing skills over time, and collaboration often includes communication experts. How would you clarify the common misconception that science is only about memorizing facts? One way is to remember that while knowledge is essential, science also involves critical thinking, problem solving, and the application of concepts. One way is to remember that only geniuses can be scientists. One way is to remember that scientists come from diverse backgrounds, and anyone with curiosity and dedication can engage in scientific inquiry. How would you clarify the common misconception that you need to be good at every science subject to be a scientist? One way is to remember that scientists often specialize in specific areas, and expertise can be developed in one or more subjects. How would you clarify the common misconception that you need to have a perfect academic record to be a scientist? One way is to remember that academic success is just one aspect. Perseverance, curiosity, and a love for learning are equally important. How would you clarify the common misconception that science is only for left-brained people? One way is to remember that both analytical and creative thinking are crucial in science, and individuals with different thinking styles can excel. How would you clarify the common misconception that you must have a perfect memory to be a scientist? One way is to remember that scientists use documentation, collaboration, and references to compensate for the limitations of memory. How would you clarify the common misconception that you must love all aspects of science equally? One way is to remember that scientists often have specific interests and specialties, and it's okay to have preferences within the broader field.